Hey dorks, just a quick message reminding you to head over to twitch.tv/mindgappodcast and give us a follow. We live stream when we record our new podcast episodes, and we're live streaming video game sessions on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We're playing super rad stuff like Among Us, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, Jackbox games, and Tabletop Simulator. Come hang out and play along with us. That's twitch.tv/mindgappodcast.
Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
And I've been watching a lot of clips of SNL, people breaking while in character. And that was a perfect situation where I was like, keep it together. I got nothing. I can't hold it.
Have you been watching a lot of those clips recently?
Mm-hmm.
I love those clips.
It's been fun, man. All I do is laugh along because it's just, there's nothing better than watching someone trying to not laugh to make you laugh harder. Like, that's the goddamn best. I fucking love it. And seeing those moments where these professional actors like cannot hold it together. They're doing their goddamn best, and it's just like either the other people are just egging it on, or they're stone faced. This person's like, God damn it, I can't. They're biting their lip. They're doing everything, that like taking deep breaths, and they're just trying to hold it, and they just can't. And they're like, God, I can't. I'm losing it.
Professional, funny people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the best part is too, like, it makes you laugh harder when you see them trying not to laugh, but it also exacerbates what's happening in the sketch, like with the other actors. So the minute someone tries and fails to contain their laughter, it's game over.
Oh,
there's no coming back.
We've all been in those moments, right?
Yeah.
The inappropriate moments where like you can't laugh, and then the worst thing you can do is look at someone else who's also trying not to laugh, and it just pushes it over the edge.
I had that at my 9 to 5. We were in a everyone's familiar with Zoom calls and video meetings. We were in one of our many video meetings, and a few of us were side slacking. A few of us who were in the meeting together were side slacking about someone presenting in the meeting, and just how absolutely dumb what was being said was, and other things. And we were starting to crack each other up, and you could just tell all of us like looked away from our screens at the same time, because if we caught each other's eyes in the little window, all of us had that lips pursed together, kind of pulling back, really trying not to laugh. It was especially with the video call, because if you turn your camera off, that calls far more attention to what's going on.
Exactly.
And so it's just a very precarious situation to be in.
That happened last year during Natalie's parent-teacher conference. We were doing it over Zoom. Something happened on our end. Yeah. And like, I was just like, Jill, we got to keep it. We got to hold together. This wonderful person is trying to explain to us what's going on with our child. And we're both just like, I was like, we can put it on mute, but we're still, you're going to see us. It's like, we can't be talking. Right. We got to be looking. I just realize now how much I look like that bald dude from Empire Strikes Back from Cloud City.
Yep.
That Lando goes, beep, boop, boop, boop. And I'm like, I'm really seeing it right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm just like, here we go.
Well done. Well done.
That's for you, Twitch. If you're listening, check us out on twitch.tv/mindgappodcast. Lobot, of course.
Lobot is his name.
Lobot. Lobotomy? Lobot Star Wars. There we go. Yep, that's the dude. Killing it right now.
Look up Lobot.
He was a male human from the planet Bespin who, with the assistance of AJ to the 6th cyborg construct. Wow, okay.
You know how we were talking about the other day in one of the threads, how we were angry that fans went so deep for some very obscure character or thing that we were looking at? This is one of the, like, we don't need to know where that guy's from. He doesn't need a backstory.
Well, do you want to know a little bit more about Lobot? During one job, the theft of the Emperor's personal yacht, Lobot was gravely wounded by an Imperial guard. Yeah, that's interesting. He's very
What
cool.
would the Emperor's
Says you.
yacht be called?
The Emperor's yacht.
What does he name? Because anyone who's got a yacht names the thing. So what is the Emperor's yacht called?
There are always two.
Number 2.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Do you think he has 2 yachts?
At least he's the emperor. That guy, not only does he collect a salary, but know that guy gets all sorts of, political donations and things like that. Just reaping in that stuff. He gets
a travel stipend that he uses to fuel it.
Christ, I can't believe someone actually filled out this guy's backstory. This is insane. Absolutely insane. Jesus Christ. All right. Anyway, we're getting off track because that's what we do around here. Let's get started with a little bit of housekeeping. First things first, if you don't already, check us out on Spotify. We exist elsewhere in all sorts of podcast platforms, but please check us out on Spotify. That's where you can find us. And also, come join our Discord server. Don't know what Discord is? It's a fun little world where you can come and hang out with us and everyone else that's a fan of the show. We post fun memes. We just sort of chat it up every day. Zenny gives you a daily meow in the chat. It's awesome. We set up video game nights. We have our podcast channels in there. So if you want to submit for a throwdown or you want to ask Practical Doug, it's all there. And if you want to join, just head over to twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. In the About section, you'll find a little button that is the old link to Discord. It'll take you your invite straight on over. Join right in. It'll be great. Jervis says, I once had housekeeping open the door while I was having some special cuddles with my ex. We had the do not disturb on and everything. Yeah, I think that's happened to everyone. That's happened to me.
I mean, are you sure that housekeeper wasn't trying to just reenact one of their favorite scenes?
You sure that was a housekeeper?
These are all questions that we need answers to.
Yeah. Think about that, Jared. Think about that. Also, check out our merch on Redbubble. What merch do you ask? Is it this fucking cool ass shirt right here? This dope ass Mind Gap shirt?
Look how thin the model is.
Right?
That's wearing it.
Is it this new dope ass Mind Gap hat?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You can get fucking hats now. How about that? Let me allow Dildo into the chat there. There we go. Hey, check out that shit. You can get your own fucking hat.
Dude, that's actually pretty cool. I might have to grab one of those.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm very thrilled. I need a new hat because my other ones are getting real sweaty and stinky.
Real stinky and icky.
Real stinky and icky. So check that out, man. It's great. We support your local Mind Gap podcast and get yourself something nice in the meantime.
Yeah.
I'm still looking to get some new designs in there, but for now we got the classic Mind Gap logo and we've got the I Will Hunt Your Butt. So check that shit out. If anyone
wants to donate a design to us, to submit a design of any of the inside jokes that we've got going on, or
I'd love to see a design for Uncle Doug's puzzle basement. I'd love to see something like that. I'd love to figure something out for that because I think that would be really fun.
I mean, we've got so many things. You could do a chill your tits.
We've got chill your tits.
You could do a fuck me slotty. I don't know how that would look, but I
put my dick in worse.
Put my dick in worse. Justin's not happy.
He's gonna go fuck that body.
He's gonna go showing some signs of being fucking wet.
Oh, that's a good one. We could have like some sort of like Coach Reno, like hydro coach or something like that. Just a guy that looks really intense and wet. It's just like it'd be a great inside joke. No, it doesn't like that one. No, it doesn't.
Showing some signs of being fucking wet.
Yeah, maybe he's a professional wrestler. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
PC Principal Reno Accords, leave everyone behind, get wet. Oh, I love it. I just have no actual design skills. Neither do I. So, which is why I'm not good. Also, Zenny brought up a good point during our last video game stream. Mind Gap dildos. I suggested the head could be shaped like a brain. Ribbed for her pleasure. Or his pleasure. I don't know who uses dildos. Who uses them? I don't know. Everybody.
Either way, yeah. It's a real smart brain. Got a lot of wrinkles.
Yeah, right. It's got a lot
of brain wrinkles.
It's got a lot to offer,
Mm-hmm.
So that's we're working on.
It's a great idea.
Mind Gapers dildo. I don't like that one, Jared. I don't. But speaking of the video game live stream, Justin's got something.
Keep the ideas coming.
Yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to say no, but no.
But no.
Any Doug's a dildo if you're brave enough. That's true. That's a good one, Slotty. It could be a Doug-shaped dildo. Casually Willow says, not the first thing I hear when I open the stream is Mind Gap dildos. Hey, merchandise. Welcome. Glad to have you.
Doug, tell us about that video game stream.
So we video game stream. Let me try that again. We live stream video games every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. And last Saturday was an absolute blast. I pulled together, I got home from vacation and I pulled together a motley crew of awesome people, including Noah, Alpaca, Casually Willow, and eventually the good man Caleb came by. We had ourselves a wonderful game of Dead by Daylight. If you're not familiar with that game, that is the very first episode of Justin Plays Video Games, available on our YouTube channel, which was a lot of fun to film and edit and put together. It's a very spooky game. I was not very good, but it was fun. It was a very fun game, very stressful, but in a fun way, as someone is essentially a killer and they try to hunt you and you have to try and start generators to get out, and it's terrifying. One of the most terrifying ones is that Noah has one of the characters. It's called the Twins, and it's someone's walking around, and what they do, Justin, you'll love this. They have like a conjoined twin attached to their body, and what they can do is, as their ability, they pop them out, and that little twin will run around and he will jump on you. And you move slowly trying to peel him off. Well, then you switch back to the other one who comes by and then tries to murder you. It's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Yeah, not great.
No, thank you. If I was in that game and just heard the...
Oh, well, you see it and you're like, I can't outrun this. It's the worst. It's a horrible feeling. You're like, oh God. And it's just, and you're like trying to peel it off of you. It's like, I'm
already getting like anxiety just hearing you talk about it. Doug sent me a clip of the stream from Saturday and I watched it and immediately my anxiety spiked.
Yeah. It was
horrible.
It was a great moment. There was a lot of fun moments in that stream. So that was great. And then this Saturday, I'm super excited because we are headed back into the dungeon with Dungeons and Dragons, the fantasy board game starring Justin as Miley the Elven Wizard. We've got Jared as Lida, the halfling rogue. We've got Sam as Regdar, the human warrior, and of course Eric as Josen, the cleric. We're coming back. We're heading into Adventure 11 again, where we left off, where the boys are now level 3 and realizing that the enemies and the traps are a little bit more difficult than they have been than they're used to. So it's gonna be a really good time. Looking forward to it. That's this Saturday, 8 p.m. Central. Twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. I never heard the whole heart part of that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's we only ever make it a third of the way through that song.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I love it.
It's a cool song, man. It's a cool song, bro.
It's a cool song, bro. So
yeah, bro.
Yeah, check us out. It'll be a good time.
What's the other one I have? That's our official one. I got this one on Q too.
Oh shit.
Right?
Oh shit.
I feel like the first
Thanos just showed up. Amazing. Yeah, this was a little too intense.
I think I'm gonna trash that one. Yeah, the Chariots of War that's the go-to, man. That's it.
Yeah. I feel like that other one, there's like an opportune time to do it. It's very sinister. Like shit's about to go down. Whereas Dungeons and Dragons is like, are you ready? Dun, 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 to fight some fucking goblins? Cause we gonna do it.
Are you ready? We're gonna fight the goblin tonight. Stick a spear in their eye. No.
Hop in the wagon and ride the horses. Yeah, we're gonna fight the ogres. I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Musical improv isn't my thing. I have my moments, but it's good to see you, man. I was on vacation last week, and it was.
And from what I understand, it was incredible. Incredible.
It was pretty fucking awesome. Definitely one of the best vacations I've been on. Just so much relaxing, so much chilling. Natalie had a goddamn blast. We didn't realize the place we were staying had a pool, and it was a really nice pool. And we were in there every single day, sometimes
awesome.
Twice a day.
Perfect
And
weather for it too.
Amazing.
My God, yeah.
A sweat dip in the pool followed by a little hot tub stint, and then it was like nights out for Doug. Nights out.
Nights out.
Yeah.
The night went away.
Came out. And it was on a little.
But you had the lake, you had the hot tub, you had the pool. Like you couldn't. You had all the water.
We're staying at this place called Goldberry Woods. I can't recommend enough. It's in Union Pier, Michigan, just north of New Buffalo, and it is phenomenal. It's its own little like bed and breakfast with a little orchard and farm, and you can buy the shit that they grow there in this old school camper. Like they're just like every day you just go in to sing what they got. They're like, oh, you want cucumbers? Oh, you want cherry tomatoes or pepitos or whatever you want. Like they got them all, man. They had beautiful just flower arrangements and stuff you could buy. It was awesome. It was so cool. And the owners were so cool. They were just out and about tending to their stuff. They're like, hey, how's it going? They had chickens. They had ducks. They had quails. You could get quail eggs if you wanted to just buy them. Straight out of there. It was awesome.
Now,
so
did they
much fun.
have on their website when you sent it to me? They had these the pictures in the gallery of people had kind of communal, like eating together around a table. Do they offer like a communal sit down breakfast, or is it just you go there and you just kind of on your own?
That's a great question. They offer a breakfast that's additional that you have to let them know 24 hours in advance so they can prepare everything for. And then I think everyone just sort of like they have areas where you can come and eat and things like that. We didn't do that because we brought our own food and we're just like that's how we roll these days. We're gonna cook our own shit. But it was, I tell you what, man. We stayed in this cottage on the property, like on the edge of the property, just next to the woods. And the first night, I took Loki out, to go pee before bed, and it was like pitch black. Yeah. And I'm like staring into the wilderness, and I was like, I turned the flashlight on my phone. I don't know if that made it better or worse, but I felt like I was in Dead by Daylight, where I was like,
I was gonna say, there's something it's the same feeling you get I don't remember what the specific word is or term for it, but the
diarrhea.
Fear of water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where like the fear of the unknown and the depths of water. Same thing when you're staring into pitch black or you're standing like at the edge of a forest. I feel that same sense of like, oh man, anything could be in there. And I don't know.
It makes you realize how far we've come as humans, where you're just like, oh, right. Before, like we didn't know really what was out there. And you'd hear things like cicadas and you'd be like, the trees are screaming again, it's just.
I had that conversation with Beth just the other day. I was like, who was the first time that these things appeared? What did people think? Just like, oh, well, the trees are screaming. That's new. Like,
they're mad.
How did you go about figuring that out? And I love the concept. We talked about this before. The concept of the first time things happen.
Yeah.
And just people going, what the fuck is this?
Right.
What's happening right now?
Yeah. And just the idea of, hey, we need to start a fire and soon, because it's fucking dark out here in the wilderness and this is bad. We can't see shit. And this is where bad things live. And this is not good. And yeah, the first night terrified me. I was like, all right, go pee, dog, real fast, because this is really unsettling. And I was fine most of the other nights because we also figured out they had these nice lights over by a fire pit. We'd have a fire and stuff. And a couple nights, Natalie and Jill went to bed and I stayed out and just watched the fire and had a good time. But like one of the last nights, I was just doing stuff with the fire and Jill said she heard a growl from somewhere. She goes, what was that? I go, I didn't hear it. She goes, well, if Loki doesn't do anything, I won't worry about it. And like 2 seconds later, Loki starts going, woof, woof. It starts like pointing in like the direction where Jill said she heard the growl come from.
Time to go in.
And it freaked Jill and Natalie out. And it did not leave my mind the rest of the time, where I'm like, all right, I'm not hanging out here tonight. Like I'm going to go back inside. Or we're walking by the orchard and it's all locked up and we hear something scurry in there and Loki like dives like towards the orchard. Like I'm like, I don't know. Could be a rabbit. Could be a cat. Could be something bigger. I don't fucking know.
I love how like the dog is just like, we'll go get it. And as a human, you're like, let's not. Let's just go in.
Dude, last night I let Loki out. Like was the last Sunday night I used the smoker and I was like, oh, I gotta go cover it up. So it's like, I don't know, 8:30, and I'm putting the cover on and whatever, and Loki's out there, and then I heard Loki go woof, and I look and there's something back there, and she's just like darting around, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh my god, it's a skunk. It's in our backyard,
no.
and Loki is like, oh, you want to go? You want to go? Just like getting all up in there, and I just let loose this, Loki, no, because she's not listening. I'm like, this is it. This dog is gonna get sprayed, and I have no idea where we're gonna put her. I have it all came from practical. Doug's like, I don't know, man. Like, we don't have like an area just to lock her in, but she's gonna smell for weeks. The skin has to die. You know, like, I don't know.
Practical Doug just started weeping, like just crying at the thought.
Oh, somehow, A, Loki didn't kill it.
Yeah.
And B, this thing just didn't spray. I think it may have been a younger skunk, and it maybe was like, I don't know what to do, and it just sort of slid out under our fence. And I was like, get your ass in here. I was like, get inside. I was like, we dodged a bullet, because I told Jill, this is just a matter of when. She will get sprayed by a skunk at some point. It will happen.
Do you guys have a lot of skunks out there?
We had it really bad last year. This year hasn't been as bad, but just over the last week or so, or week or 2 weeks, we've seen or smelled them a lot. Last year, I go for walks with Loki in the morning, and I'd see one almost every morning. Like, oh, fuck. Sorry, man. I got to get home. It was a late night, because they're nocturnal. And it was just like, dooba-dooba-dooba. I'm like,
Drunk as a skunk.
Okay. This guy's just, it's daylight, dude. It's starting to, sun's coming up. He's like, I know, dude. Been there. Am I right? He just starts like wandering off. I saw him all the time. I think someone may have gotten rid of the nest. So we haven't seen him a whole lot this year, but I'm like, ugh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Noah said a couple weeks ago, I was scared Spaghetti was going to jump over a chain link fence to chase a deer into traffic when we had her off leash. Oh my God.
That's terrifying. I often wonder how Abby would do with deer. Where we're looking for houses, they got a lot of deer out there. And so we're fortunate enough to find a house out there. I'll be very curious to see how she does the first time a fucking deer walks through our yard.
Yeah, Loki is I will never truly trust Loki off leash unless it's an enclosed area, because of that. Like, she zeroes in, and you cannot break it. She is the ultimate concentration, which to that I respect. But when I'm like, will you fucking listen to me? She's like, no, I'm in on this. This thing is going down. It's like, oh my God. Like, it's terrifying.
This is what we play for.
Yeah, like we were at the Warren Dunes, and they had a dog beach over there, which was awesome, and some people were kind of dicks and just letting their dogs off leash, which, it's one of those things where we've kind of talked about this before. Like, this dog just comes running up, is playing, and the lady's like, it's okay, he's friendly. I'm like, what if mine's not?
Bingo. That's what I'm saying.
How would you do if my dog just attacked your dog? Or you realize that your dog has an advantage on mine. It's not on a leash. Mine is. Right. And your dog is just running up to my dog. Like, did you consider that for a fucking second? Like, think about that. Like, think about what you're doing there. But that being said, I'm like, I would never do that, because A, Loki would just go steal everyone's fucking food, because that's how she is. And B, there's like trees and shit back there. She could just go boom, and she'd be gone. I'm like, I don't know. Like, when we're in the dog park, she comes back to us, but there's also, I don't know. That seems like a safe space. I don't trust her on the beach of a place she doesn't know to just come hang out. She also really likes the water. Would she go out into the waves? I have no idea.
Right. We lucked out with Abby, because she's and I don't know if next dog we get, I don't know, I didn't do a ton to train her. She naturally stays with you. And so I did, some as we had her for a little while, I did a couple tests of like, where's her boundaries of like when she stops listening and thus far in the 6-7 years we've had her, any and every time I've called her back, she is immediate to respond.
That's awesome.
And I'm very, very fortunate. So like, we're a little bit, if we're up at a beach and there's no one there or something, we're happy to take her off leash, because I know she will, like, even if she's out in the water, she'll always return. But if we get another dog, I don't know if I'll be that. it's a rarity that you find, a personality like this especially in a blue healer.
Yeah, I totally am. I don't know with Loki if she I don't know. Maybe when she's 2, 3, who fucking knows? I doubt it. I think she's just too smart for her own good. She's too curious for her own good. And I think there's a hound in her, and she's just like, cool, I'm going to follow this. And she just goes. And I'm like, all right, noted.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like Jared says, blue heroes are working dogs. I'm like, well, so are border collies. And that's what Loki is mostly. So they, they got shit to do. So, which, by the way, Loki met another blue healer when we went up to Wisconsin to visit Jill's sisters.
Oh, yeah?
And he was totally cool towards Loki. Apparently he doesn't like some of the other dogs, but he was just like, what's up? He was cool.
That's good.
They're
That's
like,
great.
Don't get close to the house because he is very protective of his house. But they were like on a big open farmland area. He just wandered. Like he was just doing his own thing. I was like, this dog's really happy.
Yeah.
I
feel like there are certain breeds too where because I know border collies, they're used for work. Specifically, blue heelers are used on farms for rounding up cattle and stuff like that. So I do feel like I've seen, even in videos and stuff, I feel like I've seen people who just let the blue heelers kind of like they form a perimeter, and they usually don't go around outside of that perimeter because they know I'm needed. I don't know what that innate or that internal sense is, but it's interesting just to watch how dogs react to that kind of stuff.
It's funny because they also had goats up at this farm, and the goats were like, kind of popping their heads out of the fences, and he would come up and be like, boom, boom. He'd get like really intense. The healer would be like, what the fuck are you? Get back in there. Like he was just
back in your fence.
Naturally just like, you better not. And they're like, we can't go anywhere, man. He's like, well, you better not. My mom told me stories. She used to have like, I think it was some sort of shepherd dog. Okay. And it would try to herd the cats in the backyard. It would just naturally be like, and it'd drive the cats crazy. They're like, God damn it. It's like, no, you stay in line. Like it would just like try to keep him together. I'm like, that's amazing that those dogs' instincts are just like, yep, this is what I know how to do,
Well, that's what I'm wondering too. Like if she were to encounter a deer, would that healer instinct kick in? And would she start trying to round it up basically? Would she try to keep it in an area or like I'm very curious what would happen.
Yeah, right. Just like how bulldogs are known to like essentially charge, bite down on something, and they have very high pain tolerance, and most of the time they would die in the process of like, they call them bulldogs because they would go for a bull, clamp around its neck. Sometimes it would get gored, but it would just like just very stubborn and very brutal in that regard. Like that's what they're trained for.
Yeah, I think have you ever seen clips of blue healers actually working cattle and like rounding them up?
No.
It's incredible the reflex time that they have, because they're known as healers because they'll nip at the heels of the quote unquote heels of the cattle. And so to watch, there's people who have filmed it in slow motion, and they'll run up and they'll nip, and the cow will kick, and it's like they're pro boxers. They're just slipping and just shucking and jiving. They're getting out of the way. It's incredible, and they're always barely missing. But and then immediately when the hoof comes down, they do it again, and they keep the cattle moving, but they can slip every single one of those hooves. It's incredible to watch.
How annoying would that be to be cattle and have something just fucking nipping at your heels? Like, God damn it, quit.
God damn it.
It's like, no, you stay in line. It's like, quit. Just stop nipping at my heels. God damn it. Oh, obnoxious.
Yeah.
Jared says his brother's Kelpie rounds up children if you let her off the leash. She grew up on a sheep farm.
That sounds right as well.
That's amazing. I love it. That's so cool. But long story short, I had a great vacation. I'm glad to be back. Had a really good time. It was a wonderful vacation, and I'm super excited to come back. And while I was on vacation, something amazing happened. They released the trailer for the new Matrix movie.
Oh, buddy.
Which was super interesting because I just happened to rewatch the trilogy a couple weeks ago just because I felt like it. Had no idea that...
You didn't know this was coming out.
Nope. It was not until I talked about it on the podcast a couple episodes that Jared was like, the fourth one's coming out in December. And I was like, huh? what? December? I was like, how come we haven't seen a trailer? And it was just like, oh, and then here comes a trailer.
What Jared actually says was,
It is true. What many of you have heard.
the fourth one is coming out.
It's true. It's very true. It's coming.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, like, and it's funny because I rewatched the trilogy and it sort of reignited my interest in the franchise. Like I had watched it and I don't know, I think it was always in a positive light for me, but I was like, yeah, the third one's a bit, weak and whatever. We talked about how I thought the second one gets more shit than it deserves, but to hear, normally I'm like, just let it end. Yeah. But I'm just curious to see, because as I mentioned in our Discord, I go, what I'm interested in is in seeing from the trailer as well. The special effects in The Matrix, while great at the time, have not aged well at all. And I think the first one is still pretty decent. The second and third one, where you have the CGI, Keanu Reeves and Agent Smith and stuff like that.
I think they outkicked their coverage just a little bit on those two. The first one, they were innovating, but still playing within the parameters of what they were able to do.
Yeah,
and the second and third, they were just like, let's go for broke.
Well, I think the first one, there was still more just actual humans there.
Yeah.
There was some CGI, but in like the second and third one, there are straight sequences where it looks like kind of like a bad video game, where it's obviously a CGI Keanu Reeves jumping off the heads of
the 100
Agent
Smith fight
Smiths.
is I mean, that one is notorious.
And so seeing this trailer got me excited because you get to see some of the action sequences and they look pretty damn good. Just, what they're doing and everything. And they've got some great actors in there. And I don't know, for some reason, I feel much more forgiving with this, where, some people were like, how the hell is Trinity still alive? How the hell is, Neo back? Well, I'm like, I don't really care. I'm sure they'll tell us, which is funny because, how I normally am.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're just like, no, we don't need this. No. To all the people that are afraid of what's coming, I think Morpheus said it best.
But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it.
That's right.
You have to shed your fear of it. And instead of, like you did, instead of looking forward.
I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me.
Wise words from Morpheus. I feel like they were teeing up the fourth one coming 20 years later in that movie. I feel like he was telling everyone, don't fear what's coming. Remember the good that happened before and embrace the future.
And he also said, machines.
He did say,
machines.
You finally got it. I love it.
Of course, yeah. I'm excited to see how they justify, I think at the end of the day, how they justify making another fucking one. Like I'm not like over the moon, like, oh my God, I can't believe finally. Yeah. Like I'm not fanboying out on this one, but I am very curious to see what they do with it, because to your point, I do think that the technology has finally caught up to what they want to do. And it has been so long. So, and they left it in such an interesting place in the third one. I'm very curious to see how they justify restarting the whole, sequence of, humans as batteries and the Matrix and, simulations and all. Like how are they rebooting this program inside of the movie? And also, who is it a version of Morpheus we're seeing, or is it a new? That's the thing that the internet's all fucking hot and bothered about right now.
Well, the guy who plays, first of all, I didn't realize that guy was Morpheus. He's billed.
We don't know if he is.
He's billed as Morpheus on IMDb.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, his name is, I'm gonna butcher his name and I feel bad, but Yahya Abdul Mateen II. Like this guy is one of my new favorite actors. He
really
is so good. He was in Watchmen, the TV show. He was in an awesome episode of Black Mirror with Anthony Mackie. He's apparently been in Handmaid's Tale. I don't know, man. He's an awesome. He was in the movie Us by Jordan Peele.
Those are all some heavy hitting performances.
He was in the new Candyman movie. I think he played with the lead character in that.
Shit.
He's going to be in the Furiosa movie. He's apparently in the new Aquaman movie. Like he's great, man. He's really
having his
good.
Day. This is awesome.
He's
very cool.
Absolutely phenomenal. I love him so much. He's so good.
But
yeah,
are billing him as Morpheus on IMDb.
That's what it says.
I wonder if that's going to be updated because I feel like IMDb. I'm sure that they're usually right, but this could be one of those red herrings where maybe the studio or whoever released the information to IMDb, released maybe the incorrect billing or something just to kind of throw everyone off the scent.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just I don't know. I'm curious because it obviously posits a lot of questions, and
because per canon, Morpheus died in the Matrix video game that they released.
Did he?
He was shot. Yeah, in Matrix Online, he was shot at the end of it.
Oh.
There was an assassin that right at the end of the game killed him, and I guess it is confirmed that he died, and that's from everything that I've read is supposed to be taken as canon. That video game was.
Well,
so,
I mean, again, questions are abound because Trinity's back. And if Morpheus
Trinity did die, didn't she?
She did
Interesting.
die.
That's right.
And obviously Neo died, but the very end of
Neo reassimilated. He didn't necessarily die.
Exactly.
We don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, he's gone, and at the end they ask will we ever see him again? And the Oracle says, I think we will. The idea maybe is because the one is it always Neo? Or is it different people?
For that scene from The Architect, it is.
Well, I don't know if it's always Neo, but there's always the one. So I always interpret it as meaning that different people were the one. It wasn't necessarily always Neo, if that makes sense.
See, I thought it was always Neo because of that scene where the Architect is showing him like those hundreds of monitors, and he said, "You've been here basically on an endless loop. You've done this," and so to me that meant that he's always the one, and he's come in many different iterations through that same point.
It's interesting because I think he made it, if I remember correctly, they said this was like the 6th version of the Matrix, so 6th or 7th, so meaning that this has been rebooted that many times. And
so how I might have to go back and watch it again, because how is that possible that he had that many different iterations of an interaction with Neo then?
Well, I wonder if that was just like his emotions, like his reaction, because it's interesting how you interpreted that scene, because I looked at it as that was just like it was somehow like portraying his just emotional state of things. Okay. But I find that interesting that it's like, oh no, these are just recordings of how many, because he also says like at one point he asks or says something, goes, oh wow, that was quicker than the others. So when he says the others, I just took it as there were other people that were incarnated, if you will, as the one that would pass through this, and then Neo was just the most recent one to do that. But if it is, because also it's like he's older, Carrie Ann Moss is older, right? Yeah. She's aged. Morpheus is younger. So, but I'm like, I look forward to what's cool about this is the original woman who played the Oracle after, the first two, she passed away. And so they recast her, but they very easily wrote it as, when you mess with the Merovingian, you pay a price, right. Like they're so there. It seems like in that world, it's very easy to play with that sort of stuff in that particular way.
Like, it's anytime you do software or anything like that, like you're just, you iterate, over and over again. So like, this is just the 2.0 version or the 3.0 version.
Sure.
So they really did leave themselves a wide door to walk through in that regard, where they can be like, we can really recast anyone we want.
Which is awesome.
Just call them the same person. Yeah.
And not only that, it's like these, these people aren't born. They're birthed in pods. Like they're created. They're manufactured. So it could be very easy to say that, the same people will be cycled through the system again, because it's all about them generating energy. They're battery power for these machines. I
was on the wrong thing.
Machines.
Hold on. I'm going to pull this into the main board because I need it.
I need it there.
I'm going to put it right in between my camel fart and cat short.
There you go.
I love how this board is set up. Anyway.
So I think it's interesting just to see what they'll do and how it plays out. And I'm just very curious. I'm also thrilled that this is also going to be on HBO Max. Yes!
Don't have to go to the theater. I never thought I'd be that thrilled.
I am really bummed because I want to see Shang-Chi. I just don't want to go to the movie theater. Like, I really don't right now. Man. Like, I desperately want to see that movie, but I'm just like, I don't want to go to the movie theater, man.
I was watching a Easter egg breakdown for the for something that we're about to talk about in a couple minutes, and they referenced, they're like, and the end scene in Black Widow, and I'm like, nope, turn it off. And I was like, I'm 2 movies behind. That's never happened with you and me.
Yeah,
we've never been 2 movies behind before.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just don't want to do it, man. I've heard a lot of people say, they've gone to the theaters and they have not been full, and so they felt okay. I'm just like, I don't want to sit in a dark and closed space with other people. I just don't want to do that right now. Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm tempted. I'm very tempted to just go by myself and go watch it. But I'm like, you know what? It might be on Disney Plus in a couple months. Well,
Black Widow is going to be on October 16th, I think.
That's awesome. Looking forward to watching
it. Basically, in a month, it'll be out. So yeah.
Yeah. Noah says Shang-Chi good. Okay. And he says you guys will probably be hard to find a cleaner and emptier place where we live. So, which is probably true.
Well, we're maybe where I live, but not where Doug lives. I think you'll probably have a better shot than I will.
Yeah, in the burbs, it's probably not too bad. At this point, also, me, I'm an opening weekend guy.
Yeah,
I might, I don't know, maybe since, maybe once it kind of dies down a little bit more, I may try to make I'd love to take Natalie too. God damn it, that would be fun. But
to what?
To see Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, she'd have a blast with that. I don't know, man. I just that's the one thing I do miss is taking her to the movies because she's only been to a couple and she really enjoyed the experience. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I'd really like to do that, but yeah, I don't know, man.
It'll come back in its own time. You'll know when it's the right time.
Yeah.
I fully believe, and we've talked about this again ad nauseum, but the more I think about it, I don't think the theater experience is ever going to go away. I don't think it'll ever go away. It's going to shift and change, and I think it has changed irrevocably thus far. But I don't think it'll ever go away, and there will come a time when we'll venture back in, and we'll have the same feels, and we might be more selective with which movies we go see in the theater because I feel like you are going to see more movies come out day and date on streaming services, and I think that's just going to be. There's a ton of movies, for Godzilla versus Kong, would not have gone to the theater to see it. Very happy I watched it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
And, a myriad of other movies that have come out. I felt the same way. And I was happy that we got the option to do that.
I have been much more willing to watch stuff that's available on streaming. Take chances with it because I'm like, fuck it, let's try it. There was the one with Denzel Washington and...
Jared Leto.
Yeah. I was like, I'll check that one out.
The Little Things. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, it was fine. It wasn't amazing, but I enjoyed it. It was fine.
I feel like I would have been bummed if I had spent money to go to the theater to see that. That would have been, I'd have been like, okay.
Same thing with No Sudden Moves with Don Cheadle and all those other dudes.
I didn't watch that one. Was that good?
It was good for the first 2/3. The last third really disappointed me.
Fair enough.
But, the same thing. And I was like, I wasn't mad because I'm like, whatever. I'm watching it on streaming. I'll check it out. Yeah. I'll take the risk. And, I'm thrilled Dune is going to be, the movie Malignant came out, I think, on HBO Max. I'm not into horror films, but for part of me, it was like, fuck it. We could just try it,
Right. I can have all the lights on and I can walk away when it gets too scary.
I just read the synopsis. It takes a lot for me to watch a horror movie. It takes
for me too,
a lot. And not for the sake of being scared. It's just the premises don't interest me. There's a ghost. I'm like, all right, it's an evil spirit possessing people. Okay, it doesn't get me. But then I watch shit like Hereditary, and that still lives in my head rent free. Okay, that movie is fucking that one. That one will get you. That one's gonna get you.
I don't think I'll watch that one. I very much enjoyed Midsommar, but won't watch Hereditary.
You should, so we can talk about it. Yeah. Yeah. But all in all, I'm excited for The Matrix. I never thought I would say that. I never thought I'd be like, you know what, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I also fucking love Keanu Reeves, man. I love that guy. I think he's an awesome human, and I love what he does to prepare for fucking these roles, and he's just a good dude. And I'm like, I'm all for it, man. Let's try it. Man. Let's see what this is. Let's give it a whirl. I'm for it. You know.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they come up with as far as story and how they justify everything that they have currently set up. And here's a question for you. Would you, because I've been thinking about this recently, what if they took this and they did what Star Wars failed to do, in that they told Matrix stories, but they started to deviate away from Neo and Trinity? Like, do you think that would be something that would be interesting? Do you think when you take Neo out of it, is there really a story to be told, or does it kind of hinge on that central plot point?
That's an awesome question.
Neo and Zion and that kind of thing.
I think the Animatrix proved that you absolutely can tell stories in that sort of way. And, you know, you do run the risk with this where, like, Neo is kind of like the Jedi, you know, he's kind of like the Skywalker in that regard, because he is so awesome. But I think there's absolutely, you know, stories you can tell that exist in the world of the Matrix that, because, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, if you want, again, going back to the third movie, a good portion of that movie wasn't about Neo. It should have been, but it wasn't. And it was still like, you get to see these people trying to fight off machines, both you know, in the real world. These machines. And, you know, although story-wise it didn't matter, the outcome of that, it was still pretty cool to be like, oh, this is what's awesome. You still want to know what was going on with Neo the whole time, you know, but also he spends extremely little time in the Matrix in that movie. So, you know, he's just trying to get to those points. So, while he's compelling, I think there is a compelling story to be told about people who are in Zion and doing other things within the Matrix. I think there's stuff you could do. It's especially when, you know, what was really fun to me about the Matrix was how they sort of explained things like werewolves and ghosts through the idea of programming, you know, and how they existed because they were there for a reason, then they lost their purpose. And instead of being deleted, they rebelled and they went and hid. And, you know, the Merovingian has kept them because, like, a couple of them are extremely hard to kill. Like, you have to have silver bullets. And that's like, anytime you've heard of something not right, of ghosts or aliens, you go, that's programs not doing what they're supposed to do. I was like, that's always so kind of fun.
Yeah.
When you have
or
people,
when they talked about deja vu.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh yeah,
it's just a glitch.
Something's changed.
Right. It's that was very, very cool. I would love to see, similar to what we talked about with Marvel movies too, I would love to see them take genres of movies and apply it to the universe. So like a heist movie that lived, and I know there were elements of heists and different things within the trilogy as it exists, but I would love to see one that's just dedicated to, like, you know, bank robbers who have become aware of the Matrix and can now use it. And then they have special, like, maybe the Smiths are the good guys in this one, and they're trying to catch the like something. You could go nuts with it, you know. It
could be interesting to see, like, I don't know, a new agent, right? Who's just, because you learn that programs kind of can exist in their own way, like they have a purpose, but you could also do something where people, maybe they are sort of a splinter group from Zion and they really try to just exert control in the Matrix. Like, they are bank robbers because they are aware and they can do this sort of shit and they amass power and things, but they don't give a shit about doing anything in the real world. They're like, no, we're in the Matrix doing what we want to do. Like, you can tell fun stories like that, you know? It could be very interesting. You know, maybe there was a murder, because, of course, we always go to these classic genres, right? There was a murder that happened, and you have to go into the Matrix to find the clues, even though it happened in the real world, like, because someone was. It could be fun. It could be really, really fun to sort of explore those different things. I think it's a ripe, fun world to tell a whole bunch of stories.
What it sounds like to me is a limited run series for HBO. I feel like that could be their next thing. HBO often listens to this podcast, so if you are listening to this one, that's free. You can have that one for free.
That's cool. Plus the standard industry fee of $3,000. Yeah, absolutely. You know that exactly.
Yep.
Speaking of trailers that came out, also just a couple days ago, the Hawkeye trailer I should say yesterday, the trailer came out, because that's when it came out as of recording this, which I was very pleased to see, because I've been very curious about what that show is going to be all about, and it was awesome. I thought it was great. Yeah. I feel like Marvel has absolutely killed it with their shows on Disney Plus. Like, they have absolutely killed it. You know, we could argue which ones are better than others, but I think each one has been very successful and very good in its own right. And
absolutely,
I don't have a lot of complaints. I've been very satisfied with everyone that I've watched, and I think this one's gonna hold up, and it's gonna keep the tradition going. Man, it looks great.
Yeah, this one seems like it's going to. What I'm excited about is it seems like it's got a little bit more humor than the other ones. I feel like they're leaning into the Home Alone Christmas campy kind of, like, I feel like they're gonna rely on the Christmas genre, or the Christmas movie genre, a little bit more heavily in this series. And I'm not that it's going to be all jokes and it's going to be a comedy, but I definitely think that they are ripe to have. Well, I mean, when she falls through the ceiling and he rolls his eyes, and she knocks down the bell tower because her arrow, she doesn't quite know how to use there's a lot of stuff there that I think is going to be it's going to be, I think, more focused on fun. It'll have its substance, but I do think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, it's interesting because probably a little over a year ago, maybe it's been longer at this point. Time is a mystery to me. But my brother has recommended a couple of Hawkeye comics to read, and it looks like this series is based off some of those. Sure. Obviously, with the MCU is a different version of Hawkeye, but it essentially deals with Hawkeye, who's kind of a deadbeat in the comics. He lives in a shitty apartment building. And people are like, hey, man, aren't you an Avenger? Why are you living here? He's like, money problems, and he's just kind of a rough and tumble guy. And there's this girl, Kate, who he kind of trains to be the next Hawkeye. And there's a lot of similarities in that sort of stuff. Like some of the sequences that you see happen. I'm like, oh, yeah, that reminds me a lot of the comics where he's doing stuff. And he's essentially training her to be the next Hawkeye. And, I think in the comics, this girl becomes, part of the Young Avengers as she does take on the mantle, whereas Clint takes on the mantle of Ronin. And, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people are talking about how glad they are. They're like, oh, cool, a Christmas themed thing. Like the only other Christmas one was Iron Man 3, and that was like barely evident, that's I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I like Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, and I think it'll be interesting to see how they push, further explore the universe, because I kind of appreciate someone like Hawkeye, because people give him shit because like, oh, he might be the weakest Avenger. I'm like, I don't think you realize how effective he is. Like, he doesn't miss shots. Like, he has a bow and arrow. Give him any weapon, and he is fucking deadly. Like, you better hope he doesn't get a gun. Like, that guy will fucking murder you.
He's proved his worth with a sword as Ronin.
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, I mean, he has that sort of offhanded comment, in Civil War where Tony's like, hey man, did you take up golf? He's like, I played 18. I shot 18. Like, he's good. He's very good at what he does.
He doesn't miss. Yeah.
And, while by himself, it'll be fun. I kind of look at it almost like an Ant-Man scope. The stakes are probably a little bit lower, but that makes it more human and interesting, and I don't know. It just looks like a lot of fun.
Hawkeye has always, I think, been, or there's a few people in this larger MCU that have been the viewer's conduit in there. Like, and he's a human, so you can relate a little bit more. You see him getting hurt. You see him, like, he's putting all the ice packs and the peas up. Like, he gets beat the fuck up. Where, when's the last time you saw Captain Rogers put a stake on his eye?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't happen. So I feel like this is going to be one of those where you can relate to the character a little bit more, and it's to your point, it's telling a human story. And one of the things that I was reading about was saying, though, that this, because of I think they call them the tracksuit mafia or something, they wear the red jumpsuit or the red tracksuits. In the comic that you were referring to, they're tied at the top level to Wilson Fisk. And so some people are they're wondering if this is going to be how Disney finally ties in the Netflix, what they had started on Netflix. Obviously they can't touch those. Or maybe they can. Maybe
Daredevil's back in Marvel's court now, I think.
That time has elapsed.
I think it's elapsed. And so that's why people were clamoring. They are thinking that Daredevil will be in the new Spider-Man movie.
Sure.
It's be as Peter Parker's
we
lawyer.
We might see him in this.
You know.
Yeah.
Who knows? It would be pretty cool to see, any of that stuff pop up. I'd be down for it.
This could be interesting, yeah. And one of the, I guess, too, the actual title of the show is mirrored off of one of the comics directly, and so that's given a lot of people the feeling that this is going to pull very heavily from that source material.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I love, again, just seeing things like there's obviously a Steve Rogers musical that exists. Like,
cannot wait to see that.
I started playing the trailer for Jill and Natalie last night, but I think Jill had missed in the very intro where it showed like the marquee, and so it shows the quick shot later of someone like dancing. She goes, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's in this universe they made a musical based on Steve Rogers, and it looks adorable." And those are the things that I love. Again, like Marvel does such a good job of like just further giving you those little things of like, like with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like, we got to give the shield over to the museum, right? Because this is the Captain America exhibit that is going to live on, and so on and so forth. Or even in, Winter Soldier, where like in the Smithsonian, there's the whole thing telling you about how Captain America became Captain America. And you just see these things exist where, of course, there's going to be a musical about Steve Rogers. Of course there is. That stuff's going to exist in all that sort of stuff. Those are the things that add extra flavor. That's the kind of shit that I imagine you'd see at a Disney park, right? Where it's like this total, which is almost like extra like commercialization of this thing that's so awesome. Yeah. That's totally, you'd go in and be like, see the Steve Rogers, the Captain Rogers, stage show. It plays every day at 2 and 4. And, it's just, it totally fits it. Like, that's exactly what we would do to memorialize a fucking hero.
This gets into what you and I have been talking about off mic a lot, which is world building. So like that adds that one extra layer of texture and makes it like, okay, so these people they're aware of what's happening. They're building their own stories in the universe on top of this, and people like it makes that much richer to experience. And again, something that DC has not figured out.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I find it so interesting because that's what I think made, Captain America and Falcon and Winter Soldier so interesting, was that you had two characters who knew Captain America. They were excellent friends with them. And then they had to compete with what people thought Captain America was. They're like, here's this new Captain America. It's like, no, you don't know who Steve is. Like, we're probably the two people that know him best, and neither one of us, each one of us is very hesitant to take the mantle because of how difficult it is to fill those shoes. And you just pick some dude to fill those shoes because he had some aptitude tests. It's like, no, that's not what this is about. And just seeing, and if those are government officials who think they know who he is and what he's supposed to do, imagine what the general public thinks, in our sort of divided society that we have in real life today. I mean, what would that look like? How would people feel? I mean, it would be split, right? There would be some people it's like, yeah, he's everything America should be. And some people are like, he fucking invaded Lagos and they set off the bomb that killed people, and he's part of the imperial military complex, industrial complex that is not needed. It's like, fuck that shit. Like, it would
not
be
my captain.
Not my captain. Thanos or otherwise, not my captain. Just they sort of breathe life into this world that it's like, of course this stuff exists. I was so excited the first time I watched Daredevil on Netflix, and they referenced just offhanded, how this guy is beating the shit out of everyone, and Fisk's assistant essentially goes, if he had a magical hammer, or a suit of armor, I'd understand why he's kicking your ass, because those were the lines that I loved. It's like, we exist in this world with these incredible characters. You're meeting people who survived the Battle of New York and how it's affected their lives and how they feel about people like Jessica Jones and, all that sort of stuff. And It's a world that everyone's living in, which makes it that much more magical to me.
Yeah.
And I think Hawkeye is going to explore that more, which is why I think movies like Ant-Man or shows like this and Captain America and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, like they're so much more important because you get to explore that more human side of things, that you get a chance to really deal with those socio-political things that I think are really important and give more credence to this world.
Yeah. I agree fully, Doug.
Good. Otherwise, we were going to have to fight.
I'm just excited. I'm a little nervous. The only thing I'm nervous about is, and I don't know timeline wise where this lines up, but
Christmas.
I'm nervous about not having seen. Well, no, but I'm saying in the grand scheme of like the Marvel timeline,
Christmas.
I don't. Thank you.
Problem solved.
I don't know if not seeing Black Widow and not seeing Shang-Chi is going to like, is there going to be, because that was the concern back in spring, was that Disney was like, we have to release Black Widow because there is some shit that is going to be like continuity wise, it's going to be all jacked up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We've got Loki coming out. We've got this coming out. We've got that. And so like, they were like, we need to, when you have something that is so finely put together like a jigsaw, like their stories are, like delaying or swapping around a release can have big ramifications on what people see and what they know and what they're this and that. So I feel like before that comes out, before Spider-Man comes out, even in what's that, November?
I think that's also a December release. You just made me burp.
December release. So you're
That's
not
how it works, right?
that. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
If
like
you burp when I
yeah.
burp, just like that, you know. Spider-Man, No Way Home. When are you coming out? December 17th.
Okay, so that's going to be right before. Got it. So wait. It's for Christmas. When does Hawkeye drop? What is the official release date?
Official release date for that is November 24th. That
It
actually comes out
so
before.
That was coming out early.
Mhm.
So yeah, so before both of those, I feel like we're gonna have to see Black Widow and Shang-Chi just to keep up.
Well, yeah, it also looks like Black Widow's sister, Florence Pugh, is actually cast in this as well. So probably, yeah.
That was the one thing when they talked about the in sequence of Black Widow. I caught a little bit of what it was before I was able to turn it off, and she's definitely part of it. So, yeah, you're gonna have to see it.
Well, fortunately,
Black Widow won't be a problem because that's coming out in October for the public. So I got to figure out the Shang-Chi though.
I think now that I think about it, I think I'm going to try and get over to the theater maybe this weekend or next weekend and try to figure. I mean, enough time has passed at this point. I feel like it should be, if it was quiet before, it should be real quiet now. And then maybe I could pull that off and go see that.
I'm going to San Diego next week. I'm going to see if I can get Drew to go see it with me.
Oh, you're going to San Diego?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
see
not
if
going
I can get Drew to go see a Marvel movie.
I'm sure that'll go over well.
I think it will. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're in agreement.
I don't think Drew's going to go. He will.
You just said it was going to go over well.
He's going to fight you.
He's tiny.
Oh, you just heard it here. Drew is tiny.
And
Schmal Vinky.
I jump roped today. Okay, Doug. I think enough said.
Maybe now it's too early, but I want everyone to know that Justin has inspired me to work out.
This is the second time I've inspired Doug to do something.
Yeah, and we're on a journey together. He mentioned this other app to work out, and I was like, I briefly looked at it. I'm like, I'm all in, and
Doug got real fucking excited.
I got real excited, and I'm already like, let's fucking do this. And I did my first weight training today. I got more weight training tomorrow. I've been trying new recipes already. Like, I'm fucking pumped. I had a bunch of good food today. I even put fucking baby spinach in something. I sent a picture of it and sent it to my mom. I'm like, did you ever think I would ever eat a lunch like this? And she was like, oh my God, that looks delicious. And she goes, I'm going to Arby's. I think
pretty much
the emergency fart was probably the correct response to that one. That's what happens when you walk in through the door at Arby's instead of like a bell ringing. Like that's the sound that comes, and they're like, "Welcome to Arby's. Bathrooms
Welcome
over
to
there."
Arby's. We'll bring your food to you in there. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where that's where you eat it. You animal.
No, when you sent me that picture, I was just like, I don't know what's happening right now. This is very concerning to me. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
But-
It was good. It was really good. And
Bingo.
And I didn't really taste the spinach. Like, it cooks down enough where, it wasn't that big of a deal. So
Bag
delicious.
of spinach cooks down to just about the size of a quarter.
Yeah, I'm gonna try something else with spinach. I'm gonna do some big shells with ricotta and spinach. I'm gonna try that tomorrow. I think that'll be really good. And yeah, I've got all sorts of shit, man. I'm super excited.
This app we're talking about, it's called Center, and it's Chris Hemsworth's. It's his project. He launched it with his wife and his team of nutritionists and trainers and things like that. And so it's basically inspired by what he does to get in shape for his movies and stuff. They're taking that and they're modifying it and making an entire like lifestyle thing around it. And so their Instagram ads and videos hooked me. And I was like, this looks cool. Looked into it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give it a shot. Showed Doug, and Doug was like, man.
Because what's great about it is they have like 3 paths that you can just get on and switch at any time.
Yes.
And
so right now I'm on the weight loss path. And as soon as I'm comfortable with where I'm at there, I'm switching over to building muscle. And it's so, and you can whatever suits you at that moment,
Yeah, and I'm on the weightlifting path right now. I was just reading because I've been lifting weights, but I've just been kind of aimless in what I'm doing. And I'm like, I need some structure. And I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for. Yeah. And it's definitely going to push me in a lot of ways. I was like, I need that next push. And I'm like, this is it. Because it's like, oh, you work out every day. I was like, are you gonna like, is that good? It's like, oh, listen to your body, but we're gonna design it so that you can work out every day. I'm like, challenge accepted. Let's do this. Like, I want to do it.
Tomorrow's, and I was like, it's only a 23-minute workout. And I'm like, 23 minutes? What is this? But it's the high intensity interval training strength power pump. And it's with who's the Ashley Joy. It's all core based. All core based. So you're doing like inchworms and Russian twists and toe touches, sit-up punches, what's a plank hip dips, side plank dips, crossbody plank crunches. I'm like, oh, this is going to be 23 minutes, but 23 minutes of hell. So it's I'll say this. I've been on it 2 days now, and I am, and Doug and I, we've talked again about this a lot. I've been working out, same as Doug, almost daily for the past probably 4 months or so. My body's never felt like this before. I am in some serious pain. Like, I wasn't working out enough because there's muscles that I'm hitting now that I didn't realize were not being hit. And I'm very aware of them now.
Yeah, I'm super excited just because, like, I love everything. Like today when I worked out, it wasn't super hard, but I got a good sweat going. Like it was supersetting with what I was doing, and I was like, I love this. Like I'm so excited. The days that are going to be challenging are going to be the non-lifting days. They're just going to be like moving around. Like I'm scared for those. I'm scared for those days, but I'm like, this will be good. I'm
always nervous about those days, but then once you get into it, I'm like, okay, I get it. Because I always feel like I'm like, how is this going to be a workout? I'm just moving around, and I'm always wrong.
Oh, I mean, I've seen what this stuff is, and I'm like, oh yeah. Fortunately, it's like, oh, this will be.
What are you scared about? Like,
it's just
what's intimidating to you?
Just the cardio aspect of it. I've never been much of a cardio nut.
Gotcha.
I'm like, oh great, I'm going to be feeling like shit because my cardio is so bad. But on Thursday I've got the guy who trains Navy SEALs.
Aruk.
Yeah, doing his stuff, and I'm like, whew, this is
well, and that's always the thing too. Is what I this has been my philosophy, not just in working out, but in a lot of stuff. What you resist is usually the thing that you need to do.
Exactly.
Like the harder you resist something should be an indication that that's probably a thing you need to take a second look at.
Yeah.
Because you're resisting it for a reason. And so with this cardio, this is probably the thing that unfortunately the thing, and it might be a key that unlocks even more dramatic weight loss than you already have seen,
Well, because I'm also looking at, the routine, and it's 30 minutes. You're doing
nonstop.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm looking and I'm like, all right, cool. You do a cluster. It's like 40 seconds on, 20-second rest, 40 seconds to 20. All right, cool. And then it's like, and then you do it again.
Yep.
And then you do it again. And then you do something different. And then you do that again. And then you do that again. And then you do something else different. And then you do that again. And then you do that 3 times. And then it's like, and there's just 20-second like rests. Yeah. Like you just go. But that will be good.
They don't make you, and I think that's even with weightlifting, I'm assuming too, is that what I was doing, and probably what you were doing, was I would lift, or I would do a set, or I would do whatever, and then I would probably put too much rest in between. So my heart rate never got elevated. And what I'm noticing here is that any interval sets that you do is they give you a rest period, but it is far shorter than anything that I had been giving myself previously. So like your heart rate's up, you're sweating, you're not stopping.
Well, it's funny because I was doing shorter rests before.
Okay.
But with this, like the rests are great. Like with the weight that I'm doing, it's like rest is usually 2.5 minutes, which is good.
Is it really?
But, you're supposed to be doing, it's like, 5 reps. Well, you need to do enough so that 5 reps is
so you need to max that weight out.
And then you go into something else, and then you rest. Like, so you're supersetting, which is good. And I feel better when I'm doing that. So I know this is really exciting talk for everybody, but I'm excited about it. And
this might be something that someone hears this and then they are like, hey, I'm going to try this too. Like, it's not, obviously this isn't the most entertaining talk, but this is the lifestyle section of our podcast.
Yeah. Right. We've been on this kick for a while, and I'm just so thrilled that this is something I want to do, because for many years I didn't want to do anything. And now I've seen some gains, and I'm like, I'm not saying I want to be, Chris Hemsworth when this is done. That's not my goal. But my goal is like to be lean and fit and have some definition in my muscles. Like I'd love to not have man boobs. I'm working on it. Like I can see it.
That's
Dude,
the dream, man.
I have skin hanging off my ass. Like,
what?
Yeah, I have loose skin. The other day I was just like getting in the shower. I went by the mirror. And I looked. I'm like, wait a second, what? And I just sort of stood there, and like there's like skin. Like I've lost so much weight that there's skin hanging off my ass. I'm like, all right, well, we got to keep working, because we gotta make sure that goes away.
You might need to switch over to the toning section.
That's what I'm working on right now. Is like, lean, muscular, sort of like, let's build this out, because right now I've got that. I've got some skin hanging off of me, and I was like, all right, just keep working at it. We're gonna get there, and I'm seeing some stuff. I'm feeling really good. And now awesome, it's just like, let's see how much better we can make it. So, all I'm saying is, if you're listening out there and you're like, God, I feel like shit, it's just, you can do it. Yeah. I was just a lazy guy who didn't know how to eat. Eating was the hardest thing for me, and I've gotten in a good place with that. And now Jared says, time for squats. Time for squats, man. Leg day.
Get that butt tight.
Get that butt tight. I was doing that today, man. My butt is gonna be so sore tomorrow. I was doing some butt stuff today. You know what I'm saying? I was just getting up in there. Getting up there in the butt.
We'll get to the butt in a second.
Yeah, there we go. And the best part was working on the machines,
Oh, yeah.
Machine! I'm showing some signs of being fucking wet!
Yeah, I was sweaty.
Yeah.
One quick story here. That's just the idea of like Thor and Chris Hemsworth. Apparently on the way to school today, Natalie was having a rough morning, was not being super helpful. And, Jill was trying to talk to her. And the best thing about Natalie a lot of times is she will get you out of a funk and get herself out of a funk by just asking a question. We had started watching the new What If series recently, but it got scary for her, the new episode. But then she was like, Dad, I want to try and watch this again. I'm like, all right, if it's scary, just whatever. So she watched it all, and she just asked Jill this morning on the way to school after kind of having a rough morning. She goes, Mom, what do you think zombie Thor looks like? Because we never got to see his face. And Jill's like, oh, I mean, I don't know. What do you think he looks like? She's like, he's not a zombie because he's too handsome. He has handsome hair. And Jill goes, oh, you think he's handsome? She's like, yeah. She goes, do you know what that means? She goes, yeah. It's basically, a pretty boy. She goes, yeah. She goes, oh, do you like, handsome boys? She goes, ew, no. I don't like anything that's handsome. She's changed all of a sudden.
She got very Drax about it.
She's like, yeah, I don't like handsome stuff. She's in that mode now where she sees people kissing. She's like, ew, gross.
Yep.
Like she's kind of doing that. And I'm like,
Sure, yeah.
This made me think of that. I was thinking of Chris Hemsworth and he's got handsome hair.
He's got a handsome hair, but I don't like it.
But I don't like him because he's handsome,
He's
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah, no, but we'll do our best to not to we've talked a lot about fitness and food and cooking and stuff like that. We'll try our best to not make that as much of what we talk about, but every once in a while, if you are listening to this in the next couple months and next year, it's probably going to be something we do talk about. But we would encourage you to, if you're going to do some sort of a fitness journey or changing something in your life, share that with us, because we love hearing that. Like, basically, that this is supposed to be one giant community is what we're building here. So let us know on our Discord, on our social medias. Let us know what you're doing and how it's going for you, what you're working. You may turn Doug and I on to something that we have no idea, and then we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll have you on to talk about it. I'm just saying, this is a place for everyone to share shit. We just happen to have a microphone, so you hear us talk about it a lot more.
Yeah, and honestly, it took me years of listening to other people do stuff to finally inspire me and get me in the place where I'm like, oh, I can do this. Listening to Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura, do their things, and just hearing people talk about that, I was like, could I do that? I was like, I bet I could. Or hearing, Bert make terrible choices with his food, and I'm like, don't do that. I'm like, wait, I do that. It took me a while. So yeah, we're not here to be like, check out my abs, baby. But, seriously, check them out.
Once we do get abs, we're going to be doing that, though. Yeah.
Right.
This stream is going to turn complete 180, and it's going to be a hot tub stream.
Hot tub stream. And I will be a ripped, hairy motherfucker because I'm just super hairy. That's how I work.
The other thing, once we get super ripped and we start looking like Chris Hemsworth with a handsome hair, the other thing this stream could turn into is...
Welcome to the Throwdown.
Aw, silky, silky.
Silky, silky. We got the silky.
I just looked at it. I don't know what the second one is.
We're going to find out.
That's a thing?
Hit the tunes. Let's do this.
Oh my God. This
week's Throwdown is Pepsi Man versus Kool Aid Man. So yes, I wasn't aware that Pepsi Man was a thing. But apparently, let's start with Pepsi Man. Pepsi Man is an official Pepsi mascot from Pepsi's Japanese corporate branch, created sometime around the mid-1990s. All right.
We're talking about ripped. This guy's jacked.
Yeah. He's cool because he's got a chain around his neck. So his role was to appear with Pepsi to thirsty people craving or people craving soda. Gross. Sega Saturn released its arcade fighting game Fighting Vipers, and apparently they developed a game called Pepsi Man. Sounds really boring. So let's take a look at his powers. So his origin, Pepsi. I love it. That's all it says.
He's a tier 9B, whatever the fuck that means.
Whatever that means. Powers and abilities. Superhuman physical characteristics, martial arts and acrobatics. Toon force. All right. Summoning, water manipulation through Pepsi cans. So apparently you can only manipulate whatever carbonated water's in the Pepsi cans. Enhanced hearing, can hear people calling for Pepsi Man and sense people asking for Pepsi from miles away.
A very specific enhanced hearing.
Technopathy, fixed a computer system that governs Pepsi City and that controls the supply of Pepsi worldwide. This is insane. Attack potency.
Wait, so he's IT is what he is.
For Pepsi. Like
he fixed a computer system that governs Pepsi City and that controls the supply of Pepsi worldwide. He's IT for the company.
His attack potency is wall level, can casually run through wood and iron walls. His speed is superhuman. He outran a not Coca-Cola truck, chasing him at normal speed. And he's subsonic reaction, can dodge and jump over cars and motorbikes. His lifting strength, at least athletic human.
Thank God.
Possibly higher. Strength and durability, wall level. Stamina high, can run through a desert without getting winded. His range is standard. Standard
He can
equipment.
run through the desert without getting winded because, he's got unlimited supplies of Pepsi.
His standard equipment is Pepsi cans. Optional equipment is snowboard, skateboard, and surfboard. His intelligence fluctuates. While he's good at delivering Pepsi those in need and parkouring through some dire situations, he often ignores surrounding signals and therefore looks clumsy. It's to not know his glass doors and miscalculate his jumps and street maneuvers. I feel like this is the best matchup. Like, I think this is going to be really, really good. Let me do weaknesses real quick. Weaknesses.
Oh, yeah.
When he is concentrated on doing certain things, he may ignore surrounding threats, often placing him in awkward and unlikely situations he could have easily avoided. He seems to need to drink Pepsi to maintain his stamina. This guy is bad news if that's what he has to do to maintain his stamina. Like, that is a bad thing.
He's got diabetes coming, yeah.
He's also has Pepsi summoning. Be it liquid or contained in Pepsi cans, Pepsi Man can summon his trademark liquid. It's trademark liquid. To quench any human's thirst at will.
I don't like the phrase trademark liquid.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
We know it's trademarked. It's Pepsi Man. Like,
right. But just the concept, if you're not talking about Pepsi, if I'm talking about, I'm going to summon my trademark liquid.
Right.
Like, I don't like that at all. That is gross. Ugh.
All right, take us through.
I also don't like how they used parkouring as a verb.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or an adverb. Verb? Adverb? I don't know.
Verb.
Kool Aid Man! I didn't realize that Kool Aid Man has Marvel comic tie-ins. So that's interesting.
Oh, good.
But powers and stat. We all know who Kool Aid Man is. He's the anthropomorphic pitcher filled with Kool-Aid, television mascot of the beverage Kool Aid, a brand of flavored drink mixed and owned by Kraft Foods. In the advertisement or in the advertisement, he's typically featured answering the call of children by smashing through. Taken out of context again. Quotes out of context. He answers the call of children by smashing through the walls and holding a pitcher filled with his juice and yelling his catchphrase. Oh yeah. Gross. So he's also a tier 9B. Known in lore, its official version has been active since 74. Let's see. Superhuman physical characteristics. Wait, so his powers and abilities, the first one listed, superhuman physical characteristics.
And,
what does that mean? How do you... how you pronounce that?
Inorganic physiology?
Oh, God. You ever read a word and, like, it completely... Like, the letter... That was not inorganic to me.
Oh, without a doubt. You were doing the syllables.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, this isn't... I was like, I don't know. I got nothing. Water manipulation, enhanced hearing, some hand-to-hand combat skills, self-sustenance, vehicular mastery. He can ride a horse. I feel like he would kill a horse.
Yeah, I feel like that.
He knows how to fly a helicopter. Where did he train? All right. Time travel with time machine. Anyone using a time machine can time travel. That's not a power.
Right.
Some resistance to technopathy. There you go. So he's resistant to one of the strengths of Pepsi Man.
Yeah.
Telekinesis. Empathic was a manipulation and mind manipulation. Seems unaffected by thirst ray until thirsties overload the beam cannon and the explosion hurt themselves. God, I hate that sentence. Attack potency, wall level plus, casually smashes through sections of wall made of different materials, including the metal hull of a spaceship, killing everyone inside instantly. Little known fact, he actually fought Tang Man when he was in space.
There you go.
Speed, superhuman. He outruns and dodges flying electrical appliances. Possibly much faster. Bumps into one house 2 seconds after a child calls his name. Lifting strength, unknown. Striking strength, wall class. Durability, at least wall level plus. Stamina, presumably high.
That's bullshit. You can't just say presumably high. Based on what evidence?
He's a glass pitcher. Range, standard melee range, standard equipment, a pitcher filled with Kool-Aid. Non-standard, he's got a helicopter, shuttles, jetpack that travels through space, a horse, and a time-traveling machine, also known as a time machine. Intelligence, unknown, presumably average. His hot-headed character makes him appear less intelligent than he is. He's angry?
Mm-hmm. Apparently
However,
so.
he's still a skilled combatant, able to quickly realize that the opponent he was facing in one fight was just a hologram. Weakness is short-lived. I am obsessed with the Kool Aid Man's history now. I need to know more. His short limbs make him very clumsy. His hot-headed character makes him bump through surrounding things easily. Also, I would say that anyone drinking his shit is drinking all the asbestos and drywall that has fallen into the open head as he's come through the wall, and that's gross. So he murders people by feeding them asbestos.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot. Gosh.
This is a tough one because I think this is an extremely even match. Because here's the thing. Because their durability is both. See, Kool-Aid's is wall plus, and his striking. So Kool-Aid is striking strength is wall class plus and wall level plus, whereas Pepsi Man is just wall class and wall level for strength and durability. But I have to say that I feel like even though he has durability of going through walls, I feel like once you crack that exterior, it's all over, man. Like if you can find a way to crack it,
the glass pitcher.
Yeah. Now, granted, like, if he's durable, I don't know, based on these stats, which I think some of them are questionable, I'm
just saying with Pepsi Man, what does he have to crack it with, though?
Yeah. Nothing on
Cans of Pepsi?
But that's the thing, too, because apparently his strike class is just wall level. And the durability on Kool Aid Man is wall level plus. Right. So,
now the durability on Pepsi Man is wall level.
Yeah, so it seems like
Kool-Aid striking is wall class plus.
But here's the thing, it's because of its body, not because of his limbs. He can bust through walls. But his limbs are, I feel like
he is hot-headed.
He is hot-headed, and Pepsi Man, his intelligence fluctuates.
True. This is an incredibly evenly matched throwdown.
Yeah. I feel like due to the limb situation, because the thing is, Kool-Aid guy still travels fast too, right? When children call, he shows up.
Within 2 seconds, he's busting through that wall.
But I would say this. Both Pepsi Man and Kool-Aid Man would not, they run fast when they hear someone who's thirsty.
Okay.
But would they run fast to fight each other? Like, if they show up and they have to duel each other, are they going to be moving at that speed to attack each other, or is their speed contingent on someone needing to drink their trademark fluids,
That's a really good question. I'm inclined to assume that they can do it at will. I don't think they need to be summoned in order to tap into that speed force, if you will.
Yeah.
But nowhere does it say that they can just immediately. Well, here's the thing. The Kool Aid Man says he outruns and dodges flying electrical appliances.
Mm-hmm.
So he does just have superhuman speed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say anything. And then it goes on to say possibly much faster, coming into the house 2 seconds after some child called his name. So it does make it sound like he is able to move at that speed at will. Where was the speed? Superhuman outran. Yeah, I don't think with subsonic reactions can
dodge and jump over cars and motorbikes trying to run them over.
So if he can move but 2 seconds, man, this is a fucking good one. Because I was gonna say, if he can move at subsonic speeds, like, can he get fast enough to crack the pitcher?
Yeah.
With just by movement.
You know, because it says the lifting strength is athletic human for Pepsi Man. Kool Aid Man, it's unknown. I would argue that his lifting strength is probably minimal because his limbs are so short. He's like a T-Rex.
True, but here's the other thing. If he's busted through a spaceship, he can survive space. He can survive the pressures of space.
He can, but can he survive drowning? Fill his jar with liquid of the ocean and let him sink to the bottom of the sea.
That sounded like you read that from like a fable.
You fill the jar with the water of the sea and let him sink to the bottom where the pressure may be, and crack and bust and twist and yarn. There lies Kool Aid Man, wishing he would burn. I don't know. That's all I got. Some old pirate's tale.
Noah gives a nice little. First off, can you also add that into the one shot we're gonna do?
Yes,
because I would like that. Thank
Absolutely.
you. He said it's a Lunchable. So it's a Pepsi Kool-Aid mixture. The kids are eating lunch, and they call for both, and they want to drink. They want the drink to be one or the other. So basically, I think we can take that and go. So what happens is that there's a lunchroom full of kids. One kid calls for both Pepsi and Kool-Aid. These two bust in at the same time. And now they're fighting because they need to fulfill their destiny of delivering their liquid to this child.
They've been called to fulfill the needs of thirst, and they cannot go away until the needs are met. So only one can leave victorious.
I'm gonna say I'm giving this to Kool Aid Man, and the reason I'm giving it to Kool Aid Man is I think he's got the. Yes, he's stubby, but I think he's got the girth. I think he's a little thicker. I think he's just a touch stronger and more durable. And at the end of the day, I think if he can get Pepsi Man inside of him, if he can lift him up and dunk him inside, I think he can drown Pepsi Man inside of him. Now, I don't know. His arms are too short to get him up there. But if there's a way that he can get Pepsi Man inside of him, I bet you he can drown Pepsi Man.
I really don't want to give it to Kool Aid Man, but
yeah.
I think I have to give him the edge in this just because of he's a little more durable.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little more, he's a little stronger. There's a lot of things that are screaming to me that there's no way he could fight anything. The only thing he has is just like there's some sort of fighting character that just punch out their belly to fight in a fighting game.
Yeah. Was it Street Fighter?
It may have been Street Fighter. I can't remember what it was, but it was some character.
The Honda, the one that had the 100 hand slap? I think he did the belly bump too.
I don't know if he did the belly bump, but it was like that's what Kool Aid Man would do.
Yeah.
Would just be like, brr. He has like one move. It's brr,
right.
Because he can't do anything else.
Right.
But I don't. The Pepsi Man doesn't scream with any abilities. You know,
he does. I actually just in rereading this water manipulation through Pepsi cans. Kool Aid Man is mostly filled with water
through Pepsi cans. The way I read that is if he can manipulate it if it's Pepsi and it's in a Pepsi can.
Okay.
Because technically, Kool Aid Man.
I was thinking he held Pepsi cans. And he could manipulate water through the can. And
Kool Aid Man can do water manipulation. He throws jars of Kool Aid. So,
wait, does that say that?
Yeah,
Did I miss that?
under powers and abilities.
Yeah,
these two are so evenly matched. It's disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing.
But Pepsi Man has Toon Force, so basically he can defy the laws of. It's like the Animaniacs.
Mm-hmm.
He can defy the laws of physics, and he can play in the realm of like cartoon physics.
Oh, now also Kool Aid Man has access to a time machine. Shit. I'm sorry, he just wins right there. He can manipulate.
You know
time.
what? You got it. Yeah, I think Kool-Aid. That is anytime you can manipulate time. That's true. That's it.
The win. But Toon Force is a good call out because. There's crazy things you can do with that, but Time Machine, man, that's
buddy.
And he knows how to turn it on and use it. So there you go.
Hot damn. Hey, look, to the Council of Elders, the Throwdown Council, that I got to give it up to you guys. That was well done.
Excellent.
Well done.
Excellent. Well done. Oh, man.
Whew, hot damn.
Jared says, I never thought of this before, but how does Beth feel when Justin yells out the winner?
She's usually sleeping.
Well done.
I'm more worried about my neighbor who's literally, this is their bedroom right through this wall here.
Yeah, he's got to know every Tuesday night around this time, here's a winner for something, you know? Yup. Well, that was delightful. Justin, what do you have to recommend this week?
I am starting Peaky Blinders.
I've heard great things.
Oh, man, it's a good fucking show. Cillian Murphy is just a treasure. He is such a fucking good actor. You must, I will say this, must watch it with subtitles. You must have subtitles on. But yeah, season 1 through 5 is on Netflix currently. They just wrapped, I think, filming season 6, and so that should be coming out in 2022. And I believe season 6 is going to be the last one. So, I'm trying to make my way through short seasons. I think it's only 6 episodes per season, but they're hour-long episodes, full hour-long episodes. So you get a good amount of content. It's fun, man. It's a good show. Not for the faint of heart. It's very violent, but it's good. And since we're over in England, I would say also watch Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus. Season 2 is wonderful. As we can talk about that later, but season 2 is good. Doug, what do you got?
I'm gonna recommend Goldberry Woods up in Union Pier, Michigan. Check them out if you're looking for that getaway in the Midwest. You're looking for a really great place to stay. Can't recommend it enough. Really great place. It's a really great place to go. Enjoy the lake while you still can. And it's a good place. Check them out. That's good. They are not a sponsor. Just want to say they're good people. Check them out. So, which is pretty cool. Also, please check Mind Gap Podcast out on all your social medias at Mind Gap Podcast. Check out our YouTube channel where we post full episodes there as well as highlights from our show and our streams. Please check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mind Gap Podcast, where we do our live streams of our podcasts every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, and we do our video game podcast or streams every Saturday at 8 p.m. Central. Please come hang out with us. It's always good just seeing people here. It's another way to support the podcast with a viewership, and also just we get to interact with us. We get to interact with you. It's the best. And this Saturday, D&D, the fantasy board game, the next adventure, we're continuing that. It's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, buddy.
And also, don't forget to follow Justin as well.
That's right. On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it while you're in the online realm. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, all the places where you can consume podcasts. Rate, review, share, subscribe, all those good things. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then just keep an eye on all of 2 East 8th stuff.
Yeah.
Thank
you all for being part of the show. And more importantly, Justin, thank you.
Oh, Douglas, thank you.
Twitch, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
You all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.